Hey folks, welcome to Market Technical Analysis by InTheMoneyStocks.com, your leader in pure technical analysis, avoiding all that Wall Street hype. Today, Tuesday, July 8th, 2008. Well, our turn date has come to fruition, folks. You guys that have been following these videos know that the last 3 market trading days, which included a half day on Friday, Monday, and Tuesday, were our big turn date in the markets, as our analysis and number crunching revealed to us that we'd see a turn up in the markets off of drop in oil and an overall bid given in financials. And that's exactly what we've seen over the past 3 days. And just to go over the call again, folks, this is what we had said. We had said you're going to look for a bottom here. There are multiple signals based on price pattern and time calculations that are showing a positive move in the market coming. And today we saw it, and what a move it was. The Nasdaq roaring higher by 51 points or 2.28%, the Dow up 152 points or 1.36%, and the S&P 500 up 21.5 points or 1.7%. Just a dramatic move to the upside. And we're going to go over all this stuff in this video, and I want to show you guys a few interesting facets about why we thought this was going to happen, what the call was, and how it came about, and the projections now going forward. All right. Here's the ES futures. This is what we follow to go over the intraday moves of the market. And you can see really for the first, section of the day, actually, believe it or not, this morning the futures got hammered. All right, pre-market as early as 5 in the morning, 4, 3 in the morning, the futures were down dramatically, and it looked, most people probably saw those numbers and said, oh, InTheMoneyStocks.com, not going to be right on their turn date. But nonetheless, we were still dead on here, as you saw the futures getting back to around the flat line as oil continued to drop today for the second day. And now we've seen oil ever since our call. And by the way, folks, note the call here. Thursday was a half day of trading that saw oil go to about 145 by the close. Friday, the oil was open, the markets were closed, oil came down to 144. Ever since that Thursday call, the oil has went from 145 to 135. Now, whether or not oil continues down, we do ultimately think that oil will continue down, but it's going to be choppy now. You're going to get a little bit of a bounce here and there. You might get a little more downside near term, then a bounce, and then a retrace even lower. I personally, and this is my just personal opinion, not InTheMoneyStocks.com, I think oil sees $100 by the time the elections. And I've said that in videos over the past 2 months. That I think that'll happen. And we'll see. Just me taking a shot. I happen to believe in certain things and see certain things in charts. So we will continue to follow oil. But in the near term, folks, it's going to be choppy. It's going to be choppy. You're going to see an up day where it goes back up and bounces $2, $3, $4. You're going to see another down day where it goes down $2, $3, $4, and so forth. But the key here, folks, is that you got the financials to take a bid today. The dollar got a bid. Oil dropped. And yesterday in the video, we had 3 keys to the market that need to come to fruition for this market to be at the turn date, and all 3 today obliged. Yesterday, only 1 of the 3 obliged. Today, all 3. Oil continued to drop. That was number 1. The dollar got a bid. That was number 2. And financials got a huge bid in the afternoon trading, early afternoon trading, and the market just took off like a banshee here, all right? So let's go over the charts here. And you can see the intraday action was kind of choppy early, but when the financials got a bid, and notice where it happened, right here amongst all these moving averages support area, off to the races we went, and we really closed at the highs of the day today. Now, what's the outlook going forward, and why, what was going on here? Because obviously in TheMoneyStocks.com, I hate to say this, and I actually love to say it because, it kind of puts us apart, but last Thursday I was watching, the media, and everyone on the media was saying when oil was at 145, they were saying, well, it's so close to 150, it's definitely going to 150 now. It's so close to that even number, it's going to go touch it. And we stood here and said, maybe not, we don't think so. Too many people think it's going there. And everyone with the financials, oh, this is the ugliest thing in the world. All the media was pumping this, message boards, you name it, you look out there, everyone was talking about the next Armageddon with financial stocks. And here we are stepping up and saying, listen, the financials have taken a beating. They're due for a bounce. And sure enough today, and I'm going to show you the XLF. XLF, tremendous move up today, up $1.25 or over 5% move up in the financial ETF or Spider Index. And you can see the reversal on the daily. This is the daily XLF. And look at the beating it's taken. Ever since our topping call here, by the way, folks, and this is where we called the top in the market, and it came all the way down, and this is where we called our turn date right here. And now we're starting to see that come to fruition like we had talked about. Now, in all fairness, and I want to give you all this heads up, is, today's one day. Yes, it looks good. It was a solid bounce. but we need to see follow through. What's encouraging for me is you've seen a drop in oil of $10 over the turn date, and you've seen the market catch a bid. The question will be, do we continue? Now, personally, at InTheMoneyStocks.com, we look at the day following a massive move as a possible pause day or a small advance, small decline day, kind of in that middle area where there's not a big move expected. So keep that in mind, folks, is that the best thing to see, believe it or not, is consolidation in the following day and then a ramp up over the next few days after that. So beware of that you want to look for maybe a pause day tomorrow or a small advance, small decline one way or the other. The one thing you don't want to see, and we always like to point out both sides of the story because that's important, both sides, what you don't want to see here is a retrace back lower and eclipsing the whole move up today. Should we see that tomorrow, that would be a very big negative, but we don't believe that we will see that. And just notice the volume here today. Huge volume on the XLF, huge volume on the SPY. Here's the SPY daily. Look at the last 2 days in volume. Almost the biggest volume candles, and look at the recent, even for 3 of the last 5 days here were huge volume candles on the SPY. And that, again, is telling you, especially on the downside yesterday when you had that big volume, that the market may be getting exhausted. In addition, going back to yesterday's video on the XLF, and I'm going to flip to the monthly chart, I showed a key monthly support on the XLF, and I'm going to flip to that now. Okay, I showed this chart yesterday, the monthly XLF chart, and I showed you back the support that we were hitting as of yesterday, and we actually went a little lower today, which even was more beautiful, the key support from 2002 to 2003. Now, there are not a lot of technicians out there, folks, that go back this far and look at these types of charts. We are unique in what we do. We look at technicals and pure technicals only, and what you're seeing here, folks, look at this, drawing back to 2002 to 2003. Look at this support area. Now, support areas on the daily chart, if you're looking back a month, those are pretty strong supports. You look at a year over the past, a support area from 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, that's even more powerful. And it's very unlikely that you break the first time you hit that. Now, you guys know here at In the Money Stocks that turn date was the last 3 days. It looks like we've come to the fruition, especially on certain parts of it, where you're starting to get an underlying bid in the market. You also got a drop in oil, which was part of the key, and the dollar has gotten a bid ever since last Thursday. Remember, the ECB came out with rate decision, and ever since last Thursday, look at the culmination of those 3 facets over that turn date, and that is the key to the market. They have to continue now, and this is going to be the key. For this market to continue higher, you need oil to continue to come down or at least pause. You also need the financials to continue to move up, and you need the dollar not to lose steam. The dollar can stay relatively equal here or maybe move a little up, but what you can't see is all 3 of these go against what they've been doing. And if you do see that, then you may see the markets move back lower. But in our projections, what we're seeing is you should see a week or 2 of good, of pauses, pause days, push-ups, maybe small down days. But the long story short, if I go back to the daily chart, and I will go back here, we're going to see more of the, more upside here in the market as the market gets a bit over the next week or 2. Now, I'm flipping back to the ES futures chart because I want to show you this. When you deal with the overnight data, look at how low we got on this overnight data, and look at the bottoming tail that you have on this chart. This is a beautiful move today on the futures, and the futures were as low as, let's see what price we were around 1235-ish or so on the ES futures. That's very, very low overnight, and we closed at 1274. That's a monster move. You're talking about a 40-point move on the futures from the lows last night to the highs at the end of today. That is very significant, and again, you want to look for maybe a pause, small pullback type thing, or maybe a small up day coming over the next day or so. Alright, so again, keep watch for the consolidation patterns we like to see. Ideally, we want to see consolidation. Then we're going to look for price, pattern, and time indications, especially on the pattern side, for another push up over the next week or so in this market. Now, the keys to the market we mentioned. Financials, Goldman Sachs dropped huge yesterday, back up $5 today. Technology remains strong. After the bell, Alcoa came out, and I'm flipping to Alcoa's chart, came out with better than expected earnings. Their profit was down from last year, but how many times on these videos do we preach about when stocks are sold off like this, going into earnings, they're pricing in a horrible earnings, even less earnings than the previous year and not so great earnings. So if they just can beat by a little bit, you usually see a positive move in the stock. And Alcoa, and I'll show you my level 2 here, Alcoa, which was down $1 going into earnings, is now trading up over $1, basically $1.50 here after the bell prior post-earnings announcement, as their earnings, as I mentioned, came in less than than profits from last year or last year, but much better than expected. And that's the key, guys. We always talk about perception psychology. This is a psychological play. Now, we never personally play earnings because, the one you're wrong on, it dumps by 30%. But the odds are when you have a sell-off like this prior to earnings, trust me, they're factoring in some pretty lousy earnings, and all the company has to do is beat by a penny or two, and it's off to the races, up to the upside. So very, very nice move on Alcoa. That may give a little bit of a bounce to the market tomorrow, but again, after having such a monstrous move in the markets, it may need to pause. So watch for that pause day. Watch for maybe a little up or down day tomorrow. Come join the chat room. We talked about this stuff all day. We rallied. We saw the rally coming here in the markets. Everyone in that chat room knew what we were talking about going into the market. Now we see if it holds. Come join the E-Mini chat room, the stock chat room on the website inthemoneystocks.com. Join the swing trade alert. It's a phenomenal move in some of these swing trades today as the reversal had a monstrous move up. Get us for private consulting. Get us for institutional consulting. We're here to be had. Have a wonderful day. Great rally today. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care.